Hello and welcome back, Formica fans, to the FormiCast podcast, your source for everything ant keeping. I am your host, Durka, and I am excited you are staying tuned to everything FormiCast. So every week, I was thinking that I would do something like a tip of the week. So this series, this 3 launch day series for September, I'm bringing a tip for each episode. First tip of last episode was basically about the things that you would need for a ant keeper, the specific tools and the mindset and the patience and all that stuff. All that stuff is really important. Now I thought about it. Right now there's a couple nuptial flights going on. In North America, we got the latest Neo-Niger here in the North American area, especially all over the United States and Canada. And then in Australia, we got the green-headed ant. So I thought we'd go over what it looks like to go ant hunting, or to go anting, as I've seen it called. So what do you need? Of course, you need a couple things other than, the sheer will to go outside and look for ants. You also need some tools, right? So, snap cap vials, a container. I use just the test tube that I use for the test tube setup. I carry a couple of those on me, and if I find an ant, a queen ant, I go ahead and I'm able to pick it up pretty easily that way. So that's something. What to look for, especially, is like looking for the queen ant. Is if you're walking around, especially if you're going through pavement, or you're going through a trail, or a park or something. Especially here, for me in Grand Rapids, Michigan, I went to the a park over by the Grand River here in Michigan, and was just able to. I spotted 2 Lasius Neo-Niger queens over there. It's pretty easy to see them, especially because their gastrers are pretty big compared to other ants and how they move. They move pretty straight across the pavement because they're trying to get to their destination pretty quickly. Basically, how do you know it's a queen is by looking for that gaster and looking at their movement, especially. A couple people asked me during the week about how do you know if it's actually fertile. Well, you don't really know that. You get the queen ant, it might have gotten out of the nest, or you never know if it became fertile or not during a nuptial flight. The best way to know is to make sure you get it, make sure you take care of it, and if it lays eggs for you, it lays eggs for you, and if it doesn't, sometimes it just dies. It's just a part of life, I guess. If you ever get a queen and you're wondering what it is and you can't figure it out, on our Discord we have channels there to help you ID your queen or ID the worker ants that you have spotted. So check that out. There's always stuff on Reddit, and there's different other Discords too for ant keeping you can always check out. But our Discord, we have some channels set up for that as well. So you guys are welcome to use that. What not to do, make sure that you don't crush the ant or hurt the ant while you're trying to get it into the test tube or your snap cap vial or whatever, and be patient with it as well, and then also keep in mind to check up on it a couple days here and there as well. Don't go completely nuts and try to give it a whole bunch of attention, because you don't want to stress it out, especially if it lays eggs and then all of a sudden you stress it out too much, it ends up eating the eggs or whatever. You don't want that to happen. Also be careful of getting what you think might be a queen ant, and it's actually a velvet ant or some type of wasp that looks like an ant. That actually happened to me about a week ago. It was pretty funny, but I was able to let it go without getting stung. Supposedly their stings hurt pretty bad. But make sure you check out antflights.com to see what ants are going on with their nuptial flights in your area. As I said earlier, Australia on the eastern side of the country is having I think green-headed ants. I can double check that really quick here. I believe it is. Let me just double check. Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna take a quick break here really quick, guys, and then we'll get back into the episode. See you guys in. Alright, everybody, thank you for waiting patiently. Hope you guys enjoyed the break. Alright, so the species highlight for today is Leptomyrmex. I'm not gonna try to pronounce that because it's pretty long and it seems pretty difficult. So we're just gonna go with the normal term that people use, and it's called a spider ant. Identification and where to find. You can find it mainly in the eastern coast of Australia in wet, dry climates in rainforests, gallery rainforests, and beach scrub. Nests are found in the ground, underground, in soil, in the base of trees, and under or in logs, according to Lucky and War 2010. Also, from Lucky and War 2010, they stated in the Ant Wiki page that in the Sydney region, where the spider ant is a systematic with the other species that looks kind of like it. It's Leptomyrmex sematitis, I believe that's how you say it. As the two species can be quite difficult to distinguish because the following characters will aid in separating them. The spider ant species that we're talking about right now has a central portion of Clypeus, Clypeus. Don't know what that is exactly. It's excluding the interior margin represented by a 0 to 2 black setail, 2 to 4 inches for the other species, and 2 satellites are present but separated by 0.25 millimeters or more. Outside of the Sydney region, geographic distribution will also help distinguish these species from coastally to inland, from Victoria to Sydney area. But farther north to the Queensland border inhabits only the inland area. In color pattern, they resemble the Leptomyrmex ruficeps, but the latter is confined to northern Queensland. The rounded postocular margin will also help to distinguish the erythrocephalus. I don't know how to pronounce that. If someone could help me figure out these words, that would be amazing. To distinguish the different individuals of the Leptomyrmex species, we'll process the color pattern. Large size gives me the whole number pattern and everything. Narrower head and the longer scapes will identify upon close examination. They really differ in color. If you look at the different species and in the same subfamily, they're pretty cool. You can see the difference between them. We can go over the biology here really quick. These conspicuous ants are most often encountered individually as small groups to 2 to 3 foragers on the surface of the ground, anytime, day or night. Because of their long legs and thin bodies, they superficially resemble spiders. This is especially true when they are disturbed. They extend their legs, raise their gasters, and run quickly to escape danger. This has led to them being given the common name spider ants. Nests are found in soil or in dead wood, either standing on the ground or as often at the base of trees. Colony sizes average between a few hundred workers to a single queen, but in all but a handful of species, the queen is wingless and worker-like, differ from workers only in being slightly larger with a large mesomoma. In a few species, the queens are fully winged, but as they are most other ants. When a large source of food is found, Leptomyrmex will return to their nest and recruit additional workers to help utilize the newly found resource. They also use workers as living storage vessels. These special workers, called repletes, often accept liquids from returning foragers and transfer their liquid foods to these selected workers. These special workers continue to accept liquids until their gastrids become largely enlarged and extended. When enlarged, the repletes cannot escape the nest and remain inside, suspended from the ceiling. They can retain these liquids by extended periods and disperse it on demand when food is in short supply. It's pretty cool. The source of that is the Ant Wiki. I will include that into the show notes. There was a video that I found here on YouTube for Gran Hormiga. He's a YouTuber from a South American country. I forget which one it is. I think it's Colombia or Venezuela, one of the two. But he did like a comparison about what it looked like between spider ants and harvester ants, and like try to see how they differ when it goes to like foraging for food and stuff like that. It's really cool. My thoughts personally on this species is I think they're very cute, to be honest. Like, I looked at these things, I'm like, they're really cool looking, and I really want some. The fact that they hang upside down, the repletes hang upside down, is really cool as well. Alexander Wild has some really cool pictures of them as well. If you want to check it out, I'll include that link in the show notes as well. But then I'm thinking about it, like, yes, I really want these, but then the question comes up between Team Exotic and Team Local. Me personally, I'm Team Local. I prefer catching ants that are locally to me, but I don't know, man. Like, I really like these ants, but I don't know. Someone convinced me from Team Exotic, but for now, I'll stay as Team Local. Pretty much online, I looked all around. They're pretty much sold out. There's only a couple places you might find it, but pretty expensive. But yeah, like I said, I will also include the video in the show notes from Gran Hormiga, so you guys can see the comparison between harvester ants and spider ants and see how they both go for food. It's pretty cool. It's in it's in Spanish, but I was able to understand most of it because I'm Brazilian and I know how to speak Portuguese, so it's pretty easy to kind of understand that part. So it was pretty cool to learn that. Care, there wasn't much to understand or much that we know of. There isn't a care sheet on the Formiculture forum, so I tried to look up some care, and I found a video from Ants Australia. I can include his video as well in the show notes so you guys can take a look at it. But basically, a couple of things that I wrote down that he was basically talking about was they move in a very odd way, like when they move and stuff like that around the ground. They remind him and they remind me a lot of a daddy longleg and how those spiders move. We know very little about them, and researchers are still trying to learn about like why they do what they do. As when it goes for food, for sure, we know according to Ants Australia that they like raw honey a lot. They like fresh fruit and small insects like crickets. He also was talking about personal and social stomachs using trophallaxis, and how normally ants will approach each other for that, and they'll like use their antennas to signify the other ant that they're hungry. I thought that was pretty cool. I didn't know the ants had two stomachs until now. So, but yeah, a couple things I wanted to also include was last episode I was talking about what an ant keeper would definitely need, and I totally forgot about a syringe. A syringe definitely helps with getting water into your foricarium, or giving your ants water and stuff like that. It's really helpful to have one of those. So, on the FormiCulture forum, one of the users on there also shared a video with me of certain tools that he uses and that he recommends, so I can also include that video on there as well. So yeah, pretty much that's the episode for the second out of the 3 launched episodes. We got one more, and we're going to have a special guest on next episode. Look to social media to see who that will be. Social media is still going strong. Keep it up, guys. Keep sharing. Discord is growing like crazy. Make sure you guys get on there. The link in the show notes as well. YouTube, as you saw, the first episode went up, and it also went up on YouTube on Premiere 15 minutes after it launched on Anchor. And then update on my ants. They're pretty much the same thing as last episode. As the day that I'm recording, I have not checked on them for probably 2 days now. Normally I wait like probably a week before I check on them. I just got one of them recently on Friday, so it's been a couple days. I'll probably check on them tomorrow during Labor Day, which this is second episode during the series. So yeah, guys, that's pretty much it for this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I look forward to recording more and bringing on our special guest for next episode. So, all right, folks, we'll see you guys next week for an episode about carp.